Welcome, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about Instagram. This is my first Thursday 30 webinar. I'm going to be doing one each week. I feel like there are so many topics, there's so much changing that it's important that I keep you abreast of everything that's happening in the social media world. And so by doing that, I want to keep these webinars short, but I want to keep them packed with a lot of information for you. So hopefully you'll get a lot of good information and you will come back to the next one. We're going to talk about Instagram today. And the reason I'm a big fan of Instagram is the fact that right now it's probably the one social media platform that gets the most engagement. With Instagram, you are unfiltered. And so everything that you post gets seen by your followers, unlike Facebook, where only a small percentage see the things that you post. So as a result, that makes Instagram's content a lot more valuable to you in building your brand and building your visibility. With Instagram, now I need to make this caveat because Instagram is a Facebook-owned company. And as a result of that, things may change. The president of Instagram right now was the same president of Facebook that made massive changes there that reduced the reach. So who knows what's going to happen, but right now it's still a viable platform. I recommend it highly. So it all starts with good content. This doesn't just apply to your to Instagram, but it applies to Facebook, to all of your strategies, because that's really the key. I mean, if you want to get good visibility, good brand awareness, strong content is the key to everything. And having strong content starts by identifying your audience. You need to know who your target is. You need to know what their age range is, what their demographics, their location, their interests. Maybe it's their position or their industry even. Because the more you know about what your audience, who your audience is, the better you can create information, create posts, create content that is designed for that audience. And I understand most everybody's going to go, well, I'll sell to everybody or anybody. I'll do business with anybody that wants me. Well, that's fine, but who are your best target clients? Who are the cream of the crop? Who are the ones that if you got those and you got all of those clients, you wouldn't need to worry about anybody else. That's what you're really looking for when you're talking about your target audience, because it's cultivating the cream of the crop. Yeah, we're going to get the others, but these are the ones that are going to be the steady customers over and over and over again, that are going to follow you and that are going to think of you first, that are going to likely refer you. So we want to cultivate that target audience. And then the next thing you want to do is define your voice. Having a consistent voice. By that, I mean talking to your clients in a manner that they recognize, that they resonate with, that makes you build a rapport and trust with them. It's an appealing conversation. Think about that. I mean, how do you talk to your clients now? Do you talk to them in a fun way? Are you serious? Are you all business? Are you sarcastic? Are you casual? I knew we have a sarcastic one on this webinar today, and it works for him because he does a good job, and it's his personality, and it carries through. So people know that, they trust that, and they feel comfortable working with you. So if you're, and you may need to change your voice for your different target segments. So let's say you deal with an attorney or a professional or a CPA that's, all business, no, everything is cut and dried, all that kind of thing. Maybe that if you're dealing with those, maybe it's a more serious tone that you want to portray. If it's somebody else, maybe it's a fun tone or a casual tone. But however you feel comfortable talking to those people is how you want to portray your content on Instagram as well, because that's, again, you don't want them to read something that you're saying and then meet you in person and go, wow, that didn't sound like you at all. They've already built up a trust by the time they hear you or read your content. So you want to be the same person online and offline. Post, post like you would talk to them. That's all we're talking about here. And you want to make sure that you build your rapport by writing in that voice so that the audience hears in the way they like to hear and what they're used to hearing. And that goes a long way in building that rapport. There's a magic in your message, and that message needs to be about your client, about your customer. It needs to be wrapped around how you help them, the things that you do for them, the things that you can, the benefits that you bring to them. And so as a result, one of the first steps in crafting that magic message is to start with an interview for your job. Pretend like you're interviewing for your own job. And I'm not talking about creating a list of you were this title at this year and, this title here and this job position there, this company, that company. I'm not talking about a resume. I'm not talking about a CV where you list the things you've done. I'm talking about a results-oriented interview. You helped X number of people achieve this particular goal. You helped so many people in this particular way. You were successful with this. An interview is about selling your skill, your professionalism, your expertise. And that's what you want to do. You want to start with that interview and jot that down, jot those notes down, because what you're trying to do is create a framework for the message that you're going to start sending out. So for me, for example, if I were to craft my message, it would be something like, for over 20 years, I have helped hundreds of small businesses develop an effective and efficient digital marketing strategy using website design, search engine optimization, social media marketing, coaching, and training that improves their brand visibility, increases traffic to their door, and converts browsers into buyers. The whole purpose of that statement is to let people know how I help them. It's not about me, it's about them. I want to let them know that, hey, are you looking to improve your brand visibility? I'm the guy. Are you looking to improve and increase the traffic to your door? I'm the guy. If you're interested in converting browsers into buyers and increasing your return on investment, I'm the guy. People read that statement, get that message through your post, and they go, wow, I need that. That's the person I want to work with. And that's what we're trying to achieve, is a result-oriented presentation. So start with that statement. Be creative. Have fun with it, but you really want to stand out. Another important thing is, what do you do really well? Make a list of the things that you do very well. And look at that list with an eye to, how do I turn those into stories that I can relate to, success stories that I can relate to through my social media sites, through my Instagram posts. What makes you different? And oftentimes that is very challenging. I know we have some realtors on the webinar, and when with the realtors, they go, well, I sell and help people buy and sell houses. Okay, well, so do 6,000 other realtors in town. What do you do different, and why should I pick you instead of any one of those? We all have our niche. We all have our special area that we really shine, but it's putting that down in a way that we can utilize that through our posts. So we want to create those success stories, that how you've helped clients and customers, the things that you've done to be a service to your clientele. Building a theme around your posts, we're going to create then a theme or episodes, if we will, in Instagram, using these techniques, from the interview, using what you do well, using the success stories, using the differences. We're going to use those to craft some episodes, if you will, of for posts that we're going to put in our Instagram site. So that's really where you start. And this works for websites as well as social media posts. So it's not just limited to Instagram. The next thing you want to do is build an image inventory. It's important to have fun pictures, interesting pictures, pictures of that you can rely on when you get ready to do a post. So you want to be on a photo hunt all the time. Always be looking for those photo ops. If you see something cool, take a picture of it. If you see something interesting, take a picture of it. If you're at someplace special, take a picture. Store those in an album so that you can easily reach for those when you're ready to create your post, because that's the thing that takes more time. You might have a great idea, but if you look through and you got to go, well, now I got to go find an image and I got to hunt for that. So having those ready-made images, because Instagram is a visual medium, it's all about the visuals. So we got to have those visuals ready to go to tell your story. So that's why you want to build that inventory and have those ready. It makes it so much easier. And you can also experiment with the creative elements in Instagram. Instagram has some really fun creative tools, especially in the story side of things, where you have stickers and badges. You can write, you can draw on the screen. You can have different graphic components in there and build some cool stuff. So experiment and play around with it. That's really the way you learn to use that. My dad, my dad he never was professional, but he sung. He had a beautiful singing voice, a beautiful baritone voice. In fact, that's how he and mom met. He was singing with a group at a church deal, and she saw him and hung around afterwards and tracked him down. And 70 years later, 70 years later, they were still married and happily together. So, but one of the songs I remember him singing, and he actually, I think, they made a record, 78 record, of How Great Thou Art. And it's always been one of my favorite hymns. And when I hear it, I often think about him and hear that baritone voice of his booming that out. But that's not what I'm really talking about here. Because what we really want to do with what I'm bringing about here is how do we develop a rapport, and how do we have social proof? But what I'm really talking about here is how do we utilize social proof? Social proof is the power of influencers. It's what somebody else says about you. If we say something about ourselves, we're bragging. But if somebody else says it about us, it's social proof. And so we want to achieve that social proof however we can. It's important that we utilize that to overcome uncertainty. If somebody doesn't know who you are, but yet somebody else gives you an endorsement, that helps overcome the uncertainty of whether they want to do business with you. It's similarity as well. We want to be like others. We want to be like Mike. We don't want to be the lone person standing out there in the crowd. We want to be like everybody else. And so when we can associate with somebody and through social proof, through referrals and testimonials and reviews and shout outs and through social media, then people go, well, that's the kind of person I want to work with. I feel a connection with them. And so again, builds the rapport, builds the trust. Testimonials are important. They are critical to every business. 2 out of 3 people say they are more likely to buy after reading a testimonial. And 95% of people say reviews influence their decisions. 95%. So we need to be nurturing those reviews. We need to be nurturing those connections. We need to be having somebody else say how great we are. And that's why we want to partner with other businesses and let them do the talking for us. So how do we do that? So let's say, for example, let's take the example of a realtor. And a realtor is out at a house doing a home inspection, and they've got Sam of Acme HVAC company out there doing an inspection. And you take a picture and you post it on Instagram and go, this is Sam, the most incredible HVAC company in town. They do a fantastic job. I recommend if you ever need anything, these are the guys to go to. Now, if Sam is anything worth his salt, he's going to be monitoring his social media sites and see that you just said that. And then in turn, he's going to be, well, hey, if they said I'm this great, I need to reciprocate. I need to tell people how great this realtor is. And so they hop on their social media. They may probably post that, repost or share that review that you made, and then in return they recognize you. Now they've done two things. Recognizing you in their post makes your name, your brand, yourself visible to their audience, and it gives you that, and it also gives them that kind of that inclination that maybe we ought to do the same thing and go, well, let me take a picture of you. So now they take a picture of you and say, this is the most thorough realtor I work with. They do a great job. And obviously we have to be careful with those, because we don't want to, you deal with 4 or 5 people. Don't want to say they're absolutely the best and the rest of them go, hey, what am I, chopped liver? So you have to be cautious. I understand that. But we can still utilize the power of those, and the way we craft that, the verbiage for those reviews is important. And we want to make sure that we are giving them kudos without excluding somebody else that you also do business with. But that's what we want to do. We want to let others say how great we are. You want to recognize other businesses. So let's say that you're in an area, you're sitting down in an area, and you're fixing to do some work there. Maybe you're again realtor, or maybe maybe you've got some business in the area with a client. Maybe you're going to be doing a class up there in an area, and so maybe you want to sit down beforehand at a coffee shop or a little sandwich shop in a particular area and go, hey, take a picture. Hey, I had the best sandwich before I get ready to teach my yoga class, or before I get ready to meet with business to help them get their credit card processing, or whatever it is. And you sort of do it in a way that says, this is the greatest sandwich and I'm enjoying it while I'm getting ready to do my job. And so you're sort of offhandedly saying, this is what I do. But the cool part of that is, again, the restaurant, the sandwich shop, the coffee shop sees that post and repost it, because you're talking about how great they are. Now, everyone that follows them sees your name, sees your business, and can go check you out. So you begin to see the power of the influencer inside of this cross promotion type thing. And that's really one of the key factors, I think, that is a lot of times overlooked. A lot of us have networking groups and referral groups that we're part of, and that's really what we should be doing. But we may do that inside a meeting, but we don't always do that publicly and recognize them over our social media sites, where everybody in our sphere of influence can see it. We should. That's really key. The biggest purpose of what we're trying to do with Instagram is generate engagement. That's really the key. Once you can get people engaging with your post, your followers grow, your reach expands, you can start converting into leads. The success really happens through engagement, because if no one is reading your stuff, if they're not engaging with it, then you're losing the battle. So that's really where we want to start. We really have to key in on generating engagement. And the first point in generating engagement is consistency over frequency. If you are posting 5 times a week this week, and then you don't post on Instagram again for another month, 6 weeks, you're losing ground. People are not going to remember you. There's not going to build that consistency of message that is so important. So it's going to be better if you post once a week. If that's all you can do. If all you can do is once a week, that's great. Do it every week. If you can do it 5 times a week, great. Keep that up. The sweet spot is usually somewhere between 2 and 3 times a week. So maybe you want to start with twice a week, and this is post to your main news feed. Now, a good practice would be posting, let's say, Tuesday and Thursday or Friday to your main news feed, and then augment the other days with posts to your stories. And you could even tease the main feed post from your story. So you could always create a graphic that teases what's going to be in the story and drive traffic back to that. So utilizing that strategy is a good way to keep your message out there on a consistent basis. You want to provide value. You want to create content that people want to share. If nobody wants to share your content, then your message is lost. Why are you creating anything if nobody wants to share it? And that's the really the challenge part. How do you create content that's worthy of sharing? So it needs to be information that's not salesy, number one. It needs to be something that's informational, educational, entertaining, number two. And it needs to be something that people will remember, that will find enjoyable and feel like it's worth sharing to their followers. Another good way to generate engagement is to ask questions. Something like, tell me your biggest challenge. What are your challenges with your digital marketing right now? And get them to engage and tell you what their issues are. What are some problems you're having? What do you want people to know? So once you ask questions, you get people to open up and create more than just a like, or more than just a love, or more than just a yes or no answer. You get dialogue that is engaging. And with every comment, be sure that you reply to every comment that's made. And that's important because let's say you've asked a question, somebody's responded, somebody's taken time to engage with your post. It's the equivalent of being at a social event, a party or something like that. And you say something and somebody says something back to you and you just stare and don't respond. That's awkward. It's rude. And you wouldn't do it in a social setting. You shouldn't do it on your Instagram as well. Reply to every comment that people make, even if it's just thanks for your ideas, thanks for sharing. That's really what you need to do. Let them know you're listening. Lastly, one of the keys to keeping yourself on track, and now that we've kind of created our theme, we've created our episodes or our ideas for our episodes, now one of the things that we should be looking at is content calendar. By creating a content calendar, what you're going to do is you're going to take those elements that you've laid out and you're going to plug them into whatever date and time you want to share those. Use this calendar to keep you on track. It's important that you have something. So because the real time waster is like, okay, it's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday and I'm going to post something to my Instagram. I'm going to post. What am I going to post? Let me think. What am I going to post? I can't. And you spend a half an hour trying to come up with a post when if you had the ideas generated already, then it's just a matter of putting it together and executing it, putting it into Instagram. Now, there is a cool tool as well that allows you to schedule your content. And you can schedule it out 6 months in advance. So take a day or two, put together your story, put together the elements of what you're wanting to share, your interview questions, those types of things, and put all that together and generate that content for a month, for 6 weeks, for 2 months, for 6 months out, if you can do that. Now it's already automated, and all you have to do is monitor the replies and fill in around it with stories, which are easily done 15, 20 seconds, and you've got a story. So the content calendar is a critical piece, and I highly recommend that you implement something like that. And if you need help, I can give you some guidance and direction for that. So if there's any questions, feel free to pop those in the Q&A box, and I'll be happy to answer those. In the meantime, if you need personalized help or one-on-one session, small group coaching, I do those on all different topics. Any of the social media sites, any search engine optimization, website design, or social media are things that I all offer as far as services for personalized help. The website and my contact information is here on this screen. If you want to watch the replay of this webinar, you can find it at my Thursday30.com website. I'm just putting that together now, but I'll have it up probably the next day or so. But that's where all of these webinars will take place. So feel free to bookmark that, to come back to that often. As you have, since you registered for this one, you will get notification of the future um, Thursday 30 webinars that I'm going to be putting out. And I've got some really good stuff coming up in the future. I'm going to be doing things on websites. I'm going to be doing things on blogs. I'm going to talk about YouTube and about video content creation. I'll talk about Facebook. I'll talk about LinkedIn and lead generation. So a lot of topics that are going to be really timely and pertinent to help you build and grow your brand. So watch for those coming up in the near future. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask those. Otherwise, I will see you next week on the next video.